We raise Black Angus cattle and sheep, and yeah, we're gonna start landing next week. I talked about that a little bit. Culture whatsoever. But she's been featured in Time magazine and has millions of followers and all these people that follow drenched in toxic chemicals, and she just went on to talk about how scary conventional food was. And I love to comment, and I said, hey look, we grow some GMO crops on our farm. Just talk to you a little bit about what we do on our farm. And it was a really polite, well thought out from her Facebook 1,000 members. Tackle these tough topics, you know, when you're talking about hormones and antibiotics, like all these things that I used to worry. I'd like to quote Ryan Reynolds. People in LA are deathly afraid of gluten. I swear to God, you could rob a liquor store in this city with a bagels post. Talks about how everything is made of chemicals, everything we eat, breathe, touch. And they say if you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't eat it. Food Babe has always said this, that there is no amount of chemical you should ever ingest, ever. Is literally an example of how you can take something that's perfectly healthy and make it sound awful. If dihydrogen monoxide can rust these pipes, imagine what it's doing to you. Look at this, and they go, oh my God, it's a chemical. What do we do here? What do we got here, true or false? Of course it's false. But this was a really fun social experiment. The egg on the right is just cooked. Lessons in critical thinking, and how can we improve critical thinking with the journalism? But nowadays, anybody can say whatever they want on the internet. If your friend is sharing something on Facebook and you don't think it's selling something, this is another big part of it. You can say, studies show, but then does it actually post the study? Now, if it's a legitimate concern within food and farming, say like the E. coli outbreak in romaine lettuce would be a good example of that, that was a legitimate reason to avoid, and that was Google it debunked, as if you're really not sure, you don't have all the resources. I kept hearing about how wheat was drenched in glyphosate, and I was like, I don't grow wheat, I'm no expert. So, you know, double check and see if they have an agenda. You know, there's nothing wrong if somebody decides to like be vegetarian or vegan. I know GMO seeds will not germinate without applying dihydrogen monoxide. Another social experiment that this page did, because most people got it, and they were like, oh, haha. And we talked about, okay, the sprayer holds 750 gallons of that 7.5 gallons of Roundup, do the math, carry the one, and you're coming up with 22 ounces per cigarettes, all the way down to botulism. So you have people worried about chemicals in their food, and then they inject the world's most toxic chemical into their food. The moral of the story is that the dose makes the poison. Water can kill you at a high enough population. Farmers have a very small voice, where you've got these big organic corporations and the non-GMO project that are spending $3 billion a year leading with fear. Let's see, Organic Valley is a big one. So you have all these different food companies that are saying, well, everything is bad unless you buy ours, and starts to lose trust in the whole industry overall. It hurts everything. Humane Society of the United States, not to be confused with your local Humane Society that helps dogs and cats. This is a lobbying group that spent over $140 million last year alone. All these other people, these vegan animal rights activist groups, that frankly are doing a pretty good job in the social media world. No way their bellies would be that way. There's no way that their bodies would be that clean. And so as people in agriculture, we have reduced U.S. greenhouse gas emissions, and as you can see, agriculture is 9% for all of ag. U.S. greenhouse gas emissions come under. The name of their farm is, the name of their blog is Milking Our Farm. It's the Rux family. Talk to anybody as if you talk to a friend. Way. There's no wrong platform. Whether you choose to just do some Snapchats or do some YouTube big. But if you find your voice and your personality, show through with that kindness and with your being genuine voice, and just share that, because people want to hear from you. Values. We all care about supporting the next generation of farmers. We all care about passing that on. You know, global food security in a different way. But at the end of the day, there's no denying the fact that we all care about the planet, the animals, our health and well-being. And so remember to think about these shared values. Remember to say things like, I completely understand on the topic. For more information, you can totally check out gmoanswers.org all day, but just to say something like that, like, hey, I gotta run, great talking to you, check out this website, I'll check in with you later. We have an amazing story to tell. Today's farmers produce 262% more food with 2% fewer inputs compared to the 1950s. Oh, farmer, you're a farmer. And that could be what they think, a pharmacist, teacher. I'm like, no, I'm a sheep farmer, but you were so close. Tech savvy. A farmer looks like somebody that's got access to hundreds and thousands of data points and just an unbelievable amount of technology at their fingertips. Talk about the modern day apple orchard. And I know I'm in Michigan and there's a good amount of fruit people and apple people probably in the blocks. So growers used to have just these big apple trees in the blocks. You have better inputs, better utilization of inputs that you can roll out with a touch of a button that can protect your yields from a hailstorm or severe weather. This is another great statistic from the USDA. Global crop yields have tripled since 1960. 8% less land to produce the same amount of food. This meme was made by a Kansas sugar beet no-till farming easier. So there's all these different benefits to that we can share. Sometimes people think that it's just conventional that has to be sprayed, but the moral of the story is like, it's not that easy. I think, part of ag myth. So when you compare us to other countries, we're doing pretty darn good. Is there room for improvement? Sure, but that's what's cool about technology and ag, is we're always looking for bigger and better. A lot of European countries use more than we do, and so I thought that was really interesting about pesticide residues. And he shares the USDA data as a scientist that talks about how minimal it is and how good farmers are doing this. Aaron Brockovich wrote an article, talked about how the weed killer in our food is killing us. Some of the foods which typically contain high levels. If you have ever tried spraying glyphosate on carrots, but it doesn't really. Food. Steve Savage would probably be a pretty good guy at this. It tells you, it's like a pesticide calculator, where I would need to eat almost 3,700 potatoes in a single sitting in order for pesticide residues to affect you. Label on something that does not even have a GMO counterpart. There are only 10 commercially available GMO crops in the U.S. right in eggland systems, but not in broiler meat chickens. Able to affect your health in that way as well. And I know some of us are kind of preaching to the choir here a little bit.